internet! So today I wanted to make a video about the 10 books that I know I definitely want to get to in 2017. I know it's a little early in the month of December to be making this, but I just know, kind of based on my schedule right now, I'm not going to get a whole lot read this month, so I feel safe going ahead and making this list because these are books that I have either had for a really long time and just have never read and I really want to, or they're books that I wanted to read this year but I just didn't get around to them. Some of them are new releases that came out in 2016, but I don't have anything from 2017 on this list because even though there are a lot of books coming out in 2017 that I know I definitely want to read, I wanted to keep this list more focused on books that are already out and that I already own. There isn't really a specific order to these. I'm kind of doing it just alphabetical by the last name of the author because that's kind of how a lot of these came out on my shelf anyway. So the first book on this list is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. A lot of people have already read this, but I really want to finish the Grisha trilogy before I read this one, and it's on my TBR for this month. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get to it, and Crooked Kingdom specifically, I think I'm going to try and read in January for either the biannual Bibliothon or Diversathon because of the diverse cast of main characters. Six of Crows was awesome, and I've heard that this book is even better, and I am so looking forward to getting to it. I really wanted to get to it this year, but it just didn't happen due to my schedule getting busier the last couple of months, and I haven't had as much time to read as I did before. So this one is definitely going to get read early 2017. The next book on this list is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. Now, if you remember a couple of months back, I reread City of Bones because I'd read it a couple of years ago, never continued with the series, needed to give the first book another reread so I could continue with the series, and I still haven't picked up City of Ashes, so I need to do that so that way I can find out what the hype is about this series. I enjoyed the first book, but it didn't captivate me as it does a lot of people, so I'm thinking maybe the further I get into the series, the more into it I'll get. So I definitely want to get to this book sometime in the first half of 2017. The next book on this list is Room by Emma Donoghue. And the reason this book is on this list is because I really want to watch the movie, and my dad also really wants to watch the movie with me, but I want to read the book first. I've heard wonderful things about both the book and the film. The film, I think, was nominated for several Oscars, and I want to say that Brie Larson actually won Best Actress, if I remember correctly. The book basically is told from the perspective of 5-year-old Jack, whose mother was kidnapped, and they have been living in a room for the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years. And so this room is all Jack knows. This is his whole world. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. I know it's going to be very sad just based on the premise, but I have heard that it is fantastic and I really, really want to read it sooner rather than later. Another book on this list is one that I have had for a really long time and I just haven't read it and I really need to, so if I put it on this list then I have to read it, right? And that is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. And I believe that this is a mystery thriller series. I want to say that there are 3 books out. I don't know if that 3rd book is the final book and it's just a trilogy or if there will be more, but I have heard pretty good things about this series and I just need to read it because I bought this book like pretty soon after it came out and I haven't read it yet. I need to do that. The next one on this list is Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the sequel to Illuminae. It came out not that long ago, I think the end of October, and I really liked Illuminae. Even though it started off kind of rocky for me, I ended up really enjoying it. I've heard that this book is just as good, if not better, and I really just need to read it. I know I'm not going to have time to read it by the end of the year, but again, I'm hoping to maybe read it for a readathon or something because even though this book is very chunky, it's told in a multimedia format, and so it's still a fairly quick read. I think I read Illuminae in like 4 days and it is about the same size as this one, so I feel like if I was in readathon mode, I could read this book pretty quickly. This series is a sci-fi series, and I'm not super into sci-fi, but I did really like the first book, so I really need to get to this one. And then another book that I have owned for a really long time and have not read, and this is one of my biggest book guilts, so that's why I'm putting it on this list, and that is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Wicked is my absolute favorite Broadway musical, and I've seen a lot of Broadway musicals, but Wicked is really the one that got me back into theater and is the reason why I wanted to do musical theater things in college and kind of re-sparked that whole love of theater in me and musicals, and it just has a special place in my heart, and I really want to read the source material for the musical. I've heard that this is a really good book, and so I really just need to read it. The next book is a book that really intimidates me, but I really want to read it, so I'm hoping by putting it on this list that I'll guilt myself into just starting it, and that is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, which is the first book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, which is what the Game of Thrones TV show is based off of, and I love the TV show. Like, I'm super into it, and so I really want to go back and read the books that the first 5 seasons are based off of. The main reason I haven't started the series yet is because each book is like 800 to 1,000 pages, and that's really intimidating for me because, especially this one with it being a mass market paperback, the font's really small and it's like 800 pages. And it just intimidates the crap out of me, but I really just need to start this series. Even if I only get the first book read next year, I want to just start this series. Another book I want to read next year is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is a book that has a lot of hype on BookTube, and I've heard really good things about it. The first book was also made into a movie last year, and I heard good things about the movie as well, but I don't want to watch the movie until I've read the first book. So I not only need to read the books so that way I can read them, but also so that way I can finally watch the movie. This is a trilogy, and I want to read the entire trilogy throughout the course of next year, but as of right now I only own the first book. So I really want to get to this one next year. The next book is the last one in as far as the books that I've owned for a long time, and I'm super guilty for not having read them yet, and that book is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. Clearly, I need to read more J.K. Rowling besides Harry Potter. I have heard kind of mixed things about this book, but I bought it basically when it came out, and I remember trying to read it, but it was my freshman year of college, and I just didn't have the time to really take in what was happening, so I didn't get very far into it. I ended up just DNFing it for the time being, and I haven't tried to go back and read it, so I want to do that. I think they also made this book into an HBO miniseries or something, so I would like to watch that after I read the book. But this is her first adult book that came out after Harry Potter, so I need to read it. And the last book on this list is The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This book sounds so interesting. So monsters exist in this world, and they are created from different acts of violence, and there are, I think, 3 different tiers. And another thing that sounds really interesting about this book is that there isn't a romance between the 2 main characters. I don't actually know if there's a romance at all in this book, but that just sounds so refreshing. And I love Victoria Schwab's writing. I really love her adult Shades of Magic series, and the second book in this duology comes out next year, Our Dark Duet, and I need to read this before that book comes out, so that way I can read that one, and I've heard really good things about this book, so I need to read it. I was really hoping to get to it this year, it just didn't happen, so again, another book that I want to get to in the early months of 2017. So those are the 10 books that I definitely want to get to in the year of 2017. So hopefully I can read all of these. You'll notice a lot of them are quite big, which is why I haven't read them yet, but next year is going to be the year. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought. Of course, keeping those thoughts spoiler free, and that'll be it for this video, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.